I tend to be a person that seeks opportunity in adversity. So when I'm asked what my biggest struggles are, I admit I have a hard time answering this question. I spent some time really diving into what my biggest struggles were, and I was actually surprised by how many I faced. I identified 5 struggles I face consistently on the road as a full-time nomad, and we'll talk about how I overcome them in this video. Working through these struggles and explaining how I overcome them helped me build perspective on some approaches I could change to make my experience a little better.
So the first struggle I want to talk about in today's video is finding a free campsite that is accessible to good water. Now, I have found tons of great camping alongside of a river or a creek or some type of a natural water source. But for the most part, I'm not camping in locations that have accessible water. I'm usually packing my water in and leaving when my 6-gallon water jug is empty. In the summer months, I find that it's a little bit more of a necessity just because of the heat and trying to keep the dogs cool. The next struggle I want to talk about is people. Now, this one's a bit controversial, and I recognize that I am adding to this frustration probably for others because I'm out here experiencing these beautiful places too. People actually make this experience wonderful. So it's not just people in general, it's inconsiderate people. People who just walk into my camp or drive into my camp, not respecting the fact that I have been established here. Or people who drive by and roll down their window and excessively try to see what's going on. I get there's a curiosity factor, but it's a little weird. And finally, when people just pull up and camp right on top of me when there is absolutely no room. I recognize that I don't own these spots. I'm camping on public and free land, and everybody is welcome and able to do so. However, there is an etiquette when camping on public free land. You don't just walk up to somebody's campsite and make yourself at home. You respect those boundaries. And when people don't do that, it really gets frustrating and it challenges me to being that compassionate person I want to be. The next struggle I want to talk about is the weather. Now, on days like today where it's sunny, not a cloud in the sky, it is absolutely wonderful when there's a slight breeze. And I will be the first to admit that I appreciate all 4 seasons and all the different elements that this world has to offer. However, my experience with extreme weather is far different than it was when I had the truck camper. So my perspective has changed a little bit. When there is excessive heat or excessive cold, or there's a lot of wind, or there's rain, it becomes a little bit of a challenge living in a 4Runner full time. Now, to tie into the weather struggle, I also want to add that maintaining charge in cloudy weather or rainy weather or anything that doesn't have good direct sunlight is a challenge for me. Recently lost my 3rd Jackery. It broke completely and it is no bueno. And I'm now down to 2 power banks, and that is just not enough. Trying to work and edit video and just live my life. So I am in the market for a 3rd power bank. Danya has gone back to California to visit her family, and she has loaned me her 2 100-watt Jackery solar panels and her 880 Jackery. So I'm currently working on 3 power banks right now and tons of solar panels, and it is working amazingly. I use a lot of power with my laptop, my Starlink, my fridge, and all of my devices that I need to charge. And if I don't have good weather, it's definitely a struggle to maintain my power and my quality of life. And in those situations, I definitely have to make alterations on how I use my power. And finally, another struggle that I experience in the 4Runner full time is packing up my Starlink. My friend Jordan actually got to witness my frustration the other day when we were camping in Medicine Bow National Forest, and I could not get the Starlink to go into the spot that I wanted it to and roll up the window and secure the hatch. So yes, stowing my Starlink has definitely been a frustration I've faced on the road.
So how do I overcome these struggles? For a lot of these, it's my attitude that plays a huge factor in how successful I will be in overcoming these challenges. However, let's break down each of the 5 struggles. This one just takes research. I have a lot of downtime on the road, so I try to take advantage of that time to scout good spots. I use various apps to help me find the type of campsite I'm looking for, and with a little perseverance and planning, I usually find a good spot. However, when I can't or I haven't had time to research, I just make sure I'm fully stocked up on water before I get to camp. If I see a creek or a river, I'll filter and fill up my water jug and put water in my solar shower just in case. This one is where I really challenge myself. I try to put myself in their position, and I recognize that they are probably just as discouraged, exhausted, and overwhelmed as I was when I couldn't find a good campsite. Chances are, they really don't want to camp next to me either, but they feel defeated. This helps me control my irritation, but depending on how they react will heavily influence how I react. If they're calm, polite, and respectful, they will generally get that in return. If they are rude, nasty, and entitled, I usually will push back on my friendliness. Regardless, I've only had a couple encounters where people did not budge and leave camp, and in those cases, I have a decision to make. Do I want to stay, or do I want to pack up and find somewhere else to go? At the end of the day, I don't own my campsite. I'm enjoying the land that is available to me just like the next person. So it's always good to take the high road. You never know who these people are, so my safety is far more important than my ego. This one is difficult because sometimes you can't escape it. In warmer temperatures with heavy rain, I'll usually escape to my tent. In excessive cold or heat, I'll get a hotel or a cabin with heat or AC. If it's consistently poor weather, I'll try to find a location that isn't experiencing the weather I'm facing. The beauty of being a nomad is I can move and go wherever I would like. I'm not restricted to a certain location. This one is harder to overcome unless I take action. In situations where I'm not able to stay in a hotel or a cabin, or I'm traveling to a new spot, I'll turn my car on and charge via the car. However, I'm not a fan of running my car for extended periods of time when I'm not moving. I usually only do that in a pinch. If I'm low on power and I can't seem to recharge fast enough, I'll pack up and find a new spot so my devices can charge in the car during travel, and hopefully I'll find a more suitable location for recharge. I will also turn off my fridge at night, and I won't use a Starlink if I don't have to. And I'll ensure that my laptop is charged via the car during travel, so when I get to camp, I have a full battery. I just rearrange and reorganize until I find a system that works each time. It's really that simple.
Well, my friends, that's going to cover my biggest challenges that I face consistently on the road as a full-time nomad. If you found this information valuable or useful, give it a like and share it with your friends and family or anyone you think would benefit from this content. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up because my friend Jordan is on her way from Monument, Colorado, and her and I are going to spend a few days in the wilderness together. So until next time, I hope you stay safe and have a very blessed day. See you later. And I am down to these bugs.